Boys and girls, we're back. New patch, FuFu is finally out, and I'm so excited to get my hands on her. If you guys watched my previous video, you'll know that I essentially had a hodgepodge team. I was using Yi Xuan with Trigger and Astra, and don't get me wrong, it was still extremely strong. Extremely strong. But I'm hoping that FuFu is going to be the key to essentially unlocking all of Yi Xuan's power. I think I will probably be replacing Trigger in that team, still having to use Astra. I'm just really stubborn and I don't want to build the panda, so it is what it is. But yes, enough yapping. Let's get into the pool, shall we? We have a decent amount of resources, so we should be able to get her. The goal is 1 copy and then one of her Wenjin as well, since the Wenjin is very important for this character. But without further ado, let's begin. Oh. But that's annoying. Oh, it's truly a pity moment every single time. We just be hitting soft pity in this game. I feel like I never get early in ZZZ. It's just so unlucky. But I will not complain. I will not complain as long as we win the 50-50. Ooh. Okay. My luck's not been great. It has not been great. Oh, it should be next. Why does this keep happening to me, man? It's really not funny, you know? Okay, we picked her up. Super cute character, I'll give her that. But now it's Wenjin time. Please, let me get some luck on the Wenjin. Finally. Like what, 80 something pools? Crazy. Okay, let's just win this. Okay, at least we won the 75-25. That's the point where I'm at right now, you know. I'm happy winning the 75-25. That's all we got going for us. Okay, cool. So we got her and we have the Wenjin now. Now it is time to build her, so I will catch you guys when she's built in a bit. And we are back. FuFu is officially fully built. Now, a little disclaimer, she is a pure stunner and her damage is honestly pretty negligible in the grand scheme of things. So in terms of what constitutes the best build for her, it's hard to really say. You really just need to hit 2 breakpoints and she is a fully functional character. So yeah, with that yapping disclaimer out of the way, let's take a look at the character, shall we? Okay, so these are the stats we are working with. There are 2 things that really matter here. Attack is the first one. Her attack is directly tied to her core passive, so getting 3400 attack is the bare minimum you should be looking for. This is extremely important. Anything over 3400 is useless, you don't need it, but hitting 3400 is the minimum you should be looking for. The one which is slightly more important is actually the crit rate. If you're running a set, which I highly recommend you will run when we talk about the discs, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but getting 50% crit on this stat screen is extremely important. So these are the only 2 stats that really matter. 50% crit rate, and then you're trying to get as close to 3400 as possible. Ideally, you hit 3400, and then from there, honestly, you can just dump stats into crit damage, because in the grand scheme of things, like I said, she just doesn't do much damage at all. So yeah, she's a pure stunner off field. She's going to do a little bit of damage, but overall, there's really not much to improve here. I ideally want to get her crit damage more towards like 110, 120, which is completely possible once we look at the drive disc. But right here, this is perfect. A little bit overcapped here, but overall, if you have something similar to this, you're good. You have a perfectly built FuFu. Okay, let's quickly talk about the skills. Obviously, core passive, you want to max that out straight away. And like I said, this is the most important thing. Essentially, you get crit damage and you get more crit damage for every additional 100 attack above 2800. So to get the maximum increase, you need to hit 3400. That's the reason. It's as simple as that. In terms of the skills, it's actually quite unfortunate that she needs to be distributed this way, but all of her days is distributed amongst a lot of her kit. So you do want to max this out, and then EX special and auto attack are kind of in the same section. These two slightly less important, but you kind of want to spread it out. An equal spread is pretty good for her because all of her days is quite spread out amongst her kit. Okay, let's talk about drive disc, shall we? So like I alluded to, your 4-piece option, realistically, there is only one, and that's going to be the new King set. So let's just take a look here. 6% days, that's great. But the most important thing here is that you get more crit damage, even more crit damage, whenever you use an EX special or chain attack. And if your crit rate is more than or equal to 50%, you gain even more crit damage. So this is the reason why that 50% crit is paramount. You need to do everything you can to get that crit rate, and then you're good. And then you look for that 3400 attack. Everything else really, in general, does not matter at all. In terms of 2-piece, you have a couple options. Now, the obvious one, if you can hit those two breakpoints, being the crit rate and the attack, I highly just recommend going for Shockstar Disco. 6% impact, there's really nothing not to love about this. The other options you have are obviously Woodpecker. This is going to help you get that extra 8% to hit that 50%. So this can be an option. Other ones, you could look at stuff like Hormone Punk or any of the ones that give 10% attack, just to get even more attack to help you hit that 3400. But realistically, those are the top 3. Ultimately, you want to aim for getting Shockstar Disco because you want that extra impact. So this is kind of the setup you should be aiming for. Speaking of the drive disc, let's finally go through each one and talk about which ones you're going to pick. I'm lucky enough with my other disc that I have more than enough crit rate. I could afford to go more into crit damage and get more into attack. This is pretty much what you're looking for. This is a very typical DPS style stat spread. This is what you want. This 2, again, really, you're trying to just get the attack and crit rate. Crit damage is always just going to be nice to have, realistically. But to be honest, like I said, he does no damage. So even with a ton of crit rate, it's not that important anyways. Again, this piece, I'm just trying to get as much crit damage as possible to make the stat screen look nice. Now, disc 4, this is a very important topic. You might think, oh, she needs crit rate, I'm going to run a crit rate disc 4. You can, and for people who just can't get good rolls on their stuff when you're starting out, a crit rate 4 is going to help you tremendously with hitting that 50%. However, in the grand scheme of things, you really do want to try and get in attack 4 and just get some crit rate on that instead, because getting 50% should not be that difficult. In terms of how many rolls you need, I think overall you need 13 crit rate rolls to hit 50%, all things being considered. Whereas to get 3400 attack, you actually need 15 attack percent rolls instead. So it's actually easier to get the crit rate than it is the attack percent. That's just kind of how you want to look at it. Because 3400 attack is not easy to get to, especially once we talk about Wenjins, if you're a free-to-play player. So getting the attack percent 4, super important. This drive is pretty insane, in my opinion. Pretty damn insane. The But yes, again, for this 5, you don't care about damage, so you're just going to go attack. There's a pattern here. You're just trying to get as much attack percent as possible to help you reach that breakpoint, which is the most important thing. And lastly, again, impact is always going to be the best in this scenario. This is the ultimate setup essentially for your main stats. Now here you have the option to also go attack percent, because depending on your Wenjin choice and your roles, the extra 30% attack here is going to be the difference between hitting 3400 and not hitting 3400. But if you can do it, impact 6 is going to be your best bet. Now in terms of my actual discs, they're all pretty good apart from this one, which is honestly quite terrible. It could be much better. You know, that 1 roller crit rate is the only thing good here. But I spent way too many resources trying to get this, like, good, or at least acceptable. And this is the best I could get to get all the stats to work. This one is okay, not the best, but it will do. Everything else is honestly really good, really strong. As you can see, I was able to get away with quite a lot of crit damage. But yes, those are the stats. Those are the drive discs. Okay, now let's talk about Wenjins and Mindscapes. So, to no one's surprise, her signature is going to be her best one. The effect itself is fantastic. An unconditional 20% damage for your entire team, and then her entire kit just gains more days, 28% more days. There's really not much not to love with that. But the main thing is this attack percent. This makes building her significantly easier, and also lets you run an impact this 6 instead of an attack 1. Now, is this 100% necessary? No, if you have really good discs here, you necessarily don't need this. Other options would be lighter signature, which I don't have, or Kaleida's one is actually quite good as well. Hellfire Gears gives you a bunch of impact, and then energy regen as well, which is quite good for her kit. But like I said, it's a very good one and alleviates a lot of building pressure, but is not necessarily 100% required. It's a very good pickup though. Okay, Mindscape time. M1, really strong. Great quality of life with the extra crit rate by 12%. Just makes building her so easy. Like really easy at that point. You just have to focus hard on attack and you're really good to go. The 100 mic at the beginning is also really nice. It just gets her going much faster. It's less time you have to spend on her building her up and maintaining stacks. She just gets going, which is great. And then the most important part is increasing the stun damage multiplier by 35% for an additional 35% for 30 seconds, which is, I mean, that's just fantastic, you know. That's a massive multiplier for damage. So there's a lot really to like about this one. It's quite strong. M2, again, I would say is really strong. An additional 22% crit damage, which is everything that pretty much Yi Xuan especially wants. And then this next part is honestly built specifically for Yi Xuan teams. Anytime someone activates an ultimate, FuFu gains another 3 points of momentum, which just means she's able to stay off field for even longer. Yi Xuan, as you know, has 2 ultimates, so you can kind of see the synergy here. Honestly, in terms of what to prioritize, it's kind of hard to say. The Wenjin is really strong, do not get me wrong, but M1 and M2 are also really good. I think if you do not struggle at all with getting her build done, getting 2 Mindscapes is actually really strong. But in general, I would say go for the Wenjin instead. You gain quite a lot of quality of life, so to say, and just great team buffing potential. But it's up to you. It really depends on what you're looking for. Everything is really quite strong here. Okay, let's quickly talk about teams. Now, obviously, the best team right now for this character is going to be Yi Xuan, FuFu, and then Mr. Panda over here. That's going to be your quintessential Yi Xuan team right now. Other options, if you're like me and you didn't build the Panda, you could just substitute in an Astro Yao. That works. Or you can run a double stun comp have like double off field, which is really, really cool, and just have Yi Xuan on field the entire time. That's kind of cool. I'll leave it at that. Other options, she's also relatively flexible, and you can really pair her with someone like Evelyn as well. You can pair her with an Ellen, or even like a Soldier 11 if you really want to. She's super, super flexible as a stunner, so anyone who wants field time, pair them with her. She'll do the job. That's pretty much it for teams. And that, boys and girls, pretty much wraps up FuFu. She's a super fun character, super cute character as well. And she's quite similar to Trigger in the fact that she's super low maintenance. You know, you switch in for like 5 seconds, using an EX special, use an ultimate, and then you dip, and you don't have to switch back to her for a good while. But yes, the only thing is, as I say, she is quite generic, and if you have an on-field character who really likes field time, she's going to work really well with them. And if you really want to get everything out of Yi Xuan, I think she's a pretty important pickup, I'm not going to lie. But yes, do with that what you will. She is a relatively difficult character to build, like, very well. But ultimately, you're just trying to hit breakpoints, and that's the most important thing. Anything after that is just, it's nice to have, but ultimately not necessary, because she is just a pure stunner. But yes, that pretty much wraps it up. There will be a showcase after this, so stick around if you want to see that. If not, please do like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Go to 10.